Y'all ready to be history?
Get started.
Welcome.
Hi.
Hello, everyone.
To the Pro Audio Suite.
These guys are professional. They're motivated.
With Tech to the VO stars. George Whittam, founder of Source Elements. Robert Marshall, international audio engineer. Darren Robbo Robertson and Global Voice. Andrew Peters, thanks to Tribooth. Austrian Audio, making passion heard. Source Elements. George the Tech Whittam. And Robbo and AP's international demos. To find out more about us, check theproaudiosuite.com.
Line up, ladies!
Here we go.
And welcome to another Pro Audio Suite, thanks to Tribooth. And don't forget the new Tribooth, the Tribooth Memo. You can also use a code for the Tribooth Classic. That's TRIPAP200 to get $200 off your Tribooth Classic. And Austrian Audio, making passion heard. Now, Robbo, you're being heard and seen on socials. In fact, I saw a post of yours about doing a webinar.
Yeah, I thought I'd dip my toe in the water, you know.
Yep.
As you know, I started doing demos. Well, you and I started doing demos a while ago, and I'm still doing them and having a lot of fun doing that. And something that sort of occurred to me as I was doing them with people was at the same time as we were recording demos, I was getting asked a bunch of questions about, you know, what's my room sound like? You know, do you think I could do anything to improve it? Rah, rah, rah. And I kind of thought, well, you know, there's obviously a lot of people who want that information out there. So let's slap a nominal fee on it and sort of see who would like to see what I've got to say about it. So yeah, so for $30 on June the 12th at 7:30 p.m, you can jump online and look at my ugly mug for an hour and a half, and we'll talk about home studios, and 5 people will who pay a little bit extra will get their audio cleaned up and listened to and talked about by me, and they can take all that stuff away and make the changes for themselves.
Cool. Because it's like, you know, all these voiceover events, which we don't have in Australia or New Zealand for that matter. And they're really big in the States, of course. That's the main body. But I did see there was one just recently in the UK with Gravy for the Brain. They had their one. I can't think what it's called though, but we don't have one here, and I'm wondering whether it would work in Australia and New Zealand if we did a voiceover conference event.
I reckon it'd be good to have one, wouldn't it? I mean, you know, I know we're not the United States, right? And I remember some statistic George came out with, this was years ago, but they did some census in California or something, and God, I wish George was here, he could tell us, but they did some census.
I know it. I actually told you. I think I told you.
Oh, was it you? It was like just in California alone, there was some ridiculous amount of people who identified as a voiceover artist.
250,000.
Yes, there you go. Just in California. Right.
But if we were to do one, I know we've talked about this, and we actually talked to George and Robert about would they be interested in coming to Australia, for instance, as part of an event. And they seem pretty keen to do it. So I guess we should just put it out there and, you know.
Yeah, I think so. Look, the Just Ask Robbo thing that I do as well, which is like a home studio help thing, I mean, that's slowly getting a bit of momentum. And there's certainly plenty of people out there who may already have a home studio and they move and they'll sort of jump online, you know, make a booking with me and jump online and we'll have a listen and make some changes and stuff. And I think I've saved a few people from embarrassment along the way, because there's some that you sort of go, yeah, you need to have a bit of a better listen to that. Maybe put some headphones on and have a listen back to that one.
Yeah, exactly.
And stuff like that. So, yeah, so look, I mean, I guess what I'm saying is I think there's definitely a taste out there that people want to make their audio sound as good as they can. And let's be honest, I mean, the home studios aren't going away. You know, we're only going to go the way of the States where, you know, you may not have to leave home.
Well, I don't.
No, that's right. You're a hermit.
Yeah, I am pretty well. I look like a hermit and I act like a hermit now.
Yeah.
But, so, I mean, someone asked me, how often I travel into Melbourne. And I had to really scratch my head. I was there once, probably in 3 years, and that was earlier this year. I think I went in for a session, but that was the first time in years.
Yeah. What kind of things do you reckon? I mean, you'd have to talk about Source Connect and all that sort of stuff, given the conversation we've just had, you know, about how
Yeah.
it's not going to be that long and you won't be leaving home. So Source Connect would have to be there.
Source Connect, I think also, if you're talking about working remotely, I would definitely talk about Twisted Wave, because the good thing about Twisted Wave, it works on iOS.
Yeah.
And so if you're, away from the studio and you get a job or someone wants you to audition for something, I just use iOS on my phone and sit in the back of the car. And remember we did that as a test a few months back.
Yeah.
And it sounded pretty good.
It was more than a few months ago. It was about a year or so ago, or even longer. But yeah, it was great. I'll stick the link stick the link in the notes for this episode, because that's great. Yeah. So we got Twisted Wave, we got Source Connect. Got to talk about home studios, clearly.
Yeah, definitely.
Obviously, and getting those set up. So maybe George will have to be. If you were going to do it, George might have to come out. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I wonder, it's got me thinking, whether there's a taste for that sort of thing here. And I kind of feel like there is. I kind of feel like that people would sort of put their hand up. Let's face it, it's a good, if you did it, where would you do it? Sydney, probably. That's the most central.
Yeah, you do it in Sydney. Yeah.
If you did it.
Well, it's just easier, I think, Sydney.
Yeah. So if you did it here, there's a good excuse for a weekend away. Do it over a couple of days.
Yeah. And if you're not from Australia, and you can write it off on tax if you're US based, you get yourself a bit of a vacation. That
would be good. That would be another good reason to do it. All these listeners from the States that you and I keep talking to on email and Facebook and stuff, actually meet them face to face. There's a good enough reason to do it in the first place.
Yeah, exactly. So I reckon it would be like you do breakout rooms as well. So you do home studios, you do gear, you would do Source Connect. And just, maybe you have agents turn up and they can talk about what they want, casting directors, that kind of thing. And then you can get down into the weeds with a lot of audio stuff, which if Robert came up with Source Connect, he can get right down in the weeds with audio engineers if they're, from studios around the country.
Imagine what those poor voiceover artists. You'd have to give them a stiff scotch before they go into the session. They get their head around it.
But I reckon we talk about voiceover artists, but I also think like audio engineers could be interested as well.
Yeah, I would think so, especially that sort of stuff. Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, just thinking about it, you could also do business stuff. I mean, there's plenty of Australians who are doing well in the States at the moment and overseas in certain places. It would be good if you could get a guest speaker like that, maybe to come and have a bit of a chat.
Just talk about business.
Yeah, absolutely. Because that's a big side of things these days, isn't it? I mean, let's be honest, agents aren't exactly proactive in getting out there and promoting people on their books. You kind of still got to get out there and do it yourself. So if you're a bit like me, you might be scratching your head about how you do that.
It's certainly a mix. It's a mix of your agent promoting you and you promoting, because you've got to feed your agent as well. I mean, they're not going to, they haven't got, literally don't have time, to be digging around trying to find stuff. So like for me and...
But you know what I paid? I was talking about this the other day. I remember... And this is a while ago now. So this was when I was at George Pat. So we're talking late 90s, early 2000s, or at Take Two even, it used to happen. If an agent got a new person on their books, they do, like the record company thing, they do the rounds of the studios. Oh, can we make a time to come and see you, Robbo? Blah, blah, blah. And they'd turn up and, g'day, Robbo, this is Andrew. He's new on our books. He's really versatile. Yep. Here's his demo. Let's have a listen. Blah, blah, blah. And they don't do that stuff anymore.
No, it's funny, isn't it? We used to do the rounds. I remember doing the rounds myself, not necessarily with an agent. I just go, contact people and hit all the ad agencies and studios and stuff. And that was, that was like nearly 30 years ago when I used to go door knocking. That was in the days of cassettes. In fact, I remember I was probably one of the first guys to do a CD demo.
Mm-hmm. I remember I did demos when those little, what do you call it? The little micro SD card things. I just as a bit of a gimmick, I chucked my demos on those and I dropped them around places when I was looking for a job once, just to do something a little bit different, make you stand out in their heads.
So maybe what we should do, if anybody is slightly interested in us putting together an event or conference in Sydney at some point in the future, next year or maybe, maybe just shoot us a note.
I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll build a quick little form that'll take you 2 seconds to fill out, maybe just a couple of quick questions and a few multi-choice yes or no's, and I'll stick a link I'll stick it everywhere. I'll stick it on the website, and I'll stick it on our socials, and I'll stick it in the show notes if they're here, and jump on there and tell us what you think if you've got any ideas.
Yeah, cool. I love it.
There you go.
All right, we better go and start preparing for our conference.
There's no business like show business.
Well, that was fun. Is it over?
The Pro Audio Suite, with thanks to Tribooth and Austrian Audio. Recorded using Source Connect. Edited by Andrew Peters and mixed by Robbo. Got your own audio issues? Just ask Robbo.com. With tech support from George the Tech Whittam. Don't forget to subscribe to the show and join in the conversation on our Facebook group. To leave a comment, suggest a topic, or just say g'day, drop us a note at our website, proaudiosuite.com.